Friday, November 17th, 2023. Um, Boy, what a week. Uh, George Santos, as if, this is a big surprise, was found by the ethics committee, the House Ethics Committee, to have violated all sorts of rules, regulations, and laws, using campaign money to buy shoes and Botox and some OnlyFans subscriptions. I love that he said, "I didn't even know what OnlyFans was until 3 weeks ago." It's like bullshit, sister. Um, yeah, so he's in a lot of trouble, and they've called for the third time a vote to expel him from the House, and this time that it might actually pass because a House ethics report does in that House of Representatives does constitute a due process. He's you know it, there's nothing. Uh, I guess he's been indicted, right, for 23 counts of something. Um, so he will have his own legal battle to get to, because he should probably be in jail. Um, but yeah, I feel like at this point the House will be like, okay, you got to go. Enough with this crap. I wish we could get some dirt on Marjorie Taylor Greene because she's super fucking annoying. She's so dumb. Um, but I can't figure out if Santos is just delusional. Like, does he think that he didn't do anything wrong? Does he think he's going to get away with it? He seems awfully flippant and confident and nonchalant about the whole thing. But it's like, dude, you're probably going to prison. Um, so that whole thing is very weird to me. And in today's discussion on The View, which was pretty funny, it started yesterday because Whoopi wanted to talk about it. Knew she wasn't going to be here today. And uh, it's they make their little jokes and they do the whole thing, but the whole idea that when it's a Republican who's done something wrong, it becomes a witch hunt against them. It is actually a thing. Like there is sort of a double standard for what's acceptable from one side to the other. And Amy Lissa Fairfarlow Griffin kept repeating that Bob Menendez needs to go too. She's right, he does. But the Democrats usually do, shepherd their own out a lot faster than the Republicans do. Joy always goes to, look what they did to Al Franken. And honestly, they didn't do anything to Al Franken. Al Franken resigned just in the middle of the height of the Me Too movement, because he made us, he took a silly photograph with his hand on somebody's boob, for which he had consent, I think. But anyway, she always likes to point that one out. But that was a whole different animal, and he left so that he didn't have to be a distraction. And all the Republicans want to do is be distractions. That's their whole MO. They don't want to govern. And I don't remember which one brought it up. I think it was Sonny, the congressman from, I don't know where he's from, something in the South. And is his last name Rich? I don't know. But I saw him, speaking on the House floor, saying to his Republican colleagues, like, what the fuck am I supposed to campaign on? Like, what have we done here? Nothing. And there's so few Republicans who actually seem interested in governing at all. Most of them are leaving. So I don't really get where they think that they're going to continue to have a winning strategy when, this is the first midterm post the Roe v. Wade decision being overturned by the Supreme Court. And I think it's going to bite Republicans in the ass. Democrats need to make sure that they, market themselves as, the only sane choice. and show what happens when you leave the Republicans in charge. I do believe that there is a large sentiment in the country that are of people that are just sick of this um, bullshit. It's a clown show, and we're all tired of politics, but politics are in our face every day because it's such a fucking clown show. I don't remember a time when we talked every day on a bazillion different platforms about what's going on in Washington. Because the whole thing was we were never supposed to see the making of laws, and now it's all we see. It's not all we see, but it's a lot of what we see. But I guess not on TikTok. I don't know. This is the second day in a row where we've had to complain about TikTok. I don't know where. I mean, TikTok is not for me. It's not. That's not my generation of social media platform. I don't know where these kids are getting news or information out of TikTok. All I ever see are idiots doing dance routines in their houses. So I don't I don't get it. And yesterday, Sarah was talking about this Osama bin Laden letter, um, and how he was being lauded. She said it twice that he was being lauded, and I think she means lauded, Laud, lauded. But she kept saying lauded, which is Louded. It was very weird. But she repeated it, so I was like, okay, that wasn't a misspeak. Oh, the irony. That wasn't misspeaking. That was really how she's pronouncing the word, which is, I think, incorrect. Um, but yeah, so it'll be interesting to see if they actually let Santos go. Um, if he ever admits to being to wrongdoing, I would imagine he's going to want a plea deal, but I don't think that he's got anything to bargain with. So it would be a shame if this was just sort of swept under the rug, and he went to crawl back to Long Island in his Ferragamos. Um, but whatever, buddy. Uh, yeah, and um, yeah, I don't want to talk about that. The mayor or the councilman from wherever he was, Alabama, who killed himself after pictures of him being. I guess I am going to talk about it. Pictures of him in women's clothes were released, and somebody said he was transgender, which I think is incorrect. I don't know. We don't. I don't think that he was transgender, um, and I don't even think he was. Um, I don't even think he was cross dressing. I think he just was. There were pictures of him in women's clothes. Which I think maybe it was some sort of fetish that he had, but I don't. Um, I don't really know. But the point of that he felt so much shame about it that he took his own life because that was exposed has everything to do with the shame that society puts on that behavior. And the Republican Party is squarely at fault in demonizing transgender people, drag queens, and the LGBTQ plus community in general. That kind of vitriolic talk and creating laws against us, and banning books about us that just include characters, is it feeds into that shame. And it's he's somewhere in some small town in the South, um, which is probably not uh, you know uh, real allies to the rainbow. And people need to understand that all of that has a consequence. But I don't think the Republicans who spew all that shit really care. They don't care about people in general, and mostly think that anybody who isn't already wealthy and white is expendable. Um, and that should make a lot of people really angry. So much so that we shouldn't be struggling so hard to hold on to democracy. But all those southern states are gerrymandered to fuck. I believe that there's so much talk about election fraud because If you got to look at Kentucky, how do those people keep getting elected um, into the Senate? And when like Mitch McConnell is not popular, but yet he keeps winning somehow. We don't know how that happens. Um, it, yeah, it's. I wish that there was some investigations of those southern states a little deeper. And what is it? Is it Mississippi that um, or is it Missouri that still never came up with a non-gerrymandered map that the court agreed with? So I think that they got one forced on them. Um, it's some bullshit stuff. But yeah, so that's the happy thought for the end of the week. Bye bye, George Santos, and enjoy your time in prison.